Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. On today's tutorial, I will demonstrate how to draft, cut and sew a built-up neckline with darts and a V-cut opening at the neckline. Hi, my name is Ayo and welcome to 011 Clothings Tutorials. On this channel, I upload DIYs, pattern drafting and sewing tutorials. If you haven't subscribed yet, kindly do so and do not forget to turn on the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. So now, let's get right into the tutorial. Thank you! I'll be working with the following items: tape measure, pins, calculator, tracing wheel. Ideally, a pencil should be used to draft a pattern, but for tutorial purpose, I'll be using these marker pens, a pair of paper scissors, a pair of fabric scissors, rulers and curves, my fabric of choice, the front and the back basic bodice pattern. So I have here the front and the back basic bodice patterns. When making a built-up neckline, special attention should be paid to the front and the back necklines. Do not assume that 3 inches by 3 inches and 3 inches by 1 inch for the front and the back neckline curves will work for all sizes. You have to calculate the neckline values yourself. You will need the bust circumference measurement, which is 36 inches in this case. I will now divide the bust circumference value by 12, and this is 36 inches divided by 12, and this is equal to 3 inches. So for the front neck width, I will use a value of 3 inches, and for the front neck depth, I will also use a value of 3 inches. For the back neck width is 3 inches, and the back neck depth is 3 inches divided by 3, and this is equal to 1 inch. So for the front neckline, I use 3 inches by 3 inches, and for the back, I use 3 inches by 1 inch. So when I drafted these basic bodice patterns, I used a value of 3 inches by 3 inches for the front neckline, and for the back pattern, I used a value of 3 inches by 1 inch. I will now draft the built-up neckline for the back pattern. On the back neckline, from the center back, I will measure and mark 1.5 inches like this. I will connect the 1.5 inch points to the tip of the waist dart like this. I will slash it open. I will place a small pattern paper beneath the back pattern like this. I will close part of the waist dart till I have a 1 inch opening at the neckline. I will pin this side in place like this. I will make sure that I have exactly 1 inch opening at the neckline. I will sellotape the waist dart in place. I will also sellotape the neckline opening in place, making sure I do not have more than or less than 1 inch opening at the neckline. This is the neck point. From the neck point, I will draw a vertical line upwards using broken lines like this. I will measure and mark 2 inches upwards on the broken line. I will extend the zipper line vertically upwards like this. I will connect the 2 inch point on the broken line to the zipper line extension like this using a horizontal line. I will use broken lines. From the broken line, I will come down by half an inch on the zipper line extension. I will now connect these 2 points together like this using a slight curve. From this end, at the top edge of the built-up neckline, I will go in by 1 inch. From the neck point, I will measure and mark 2 inches on the shoulder line. I will now connect the 1 inch point at the top edge of the raised neckline to the 2 inch point on the shoulders using a French curve like this. I will locate and mark the middle point on the 1 inch neckline opening. I will now draw a broken line passing through the middle point from the tip of the waist dart to the top edge of the raised neckline. Next, I will construct the neckline darts. At the top edge of the built-up neckline, I will measure and mark half an inch on both sides of the broken line. I will measure the length of the middle line from the top edge of the built-up neckline to the old neckline. This gave me a value of 2.5 inches. On the middle line, I will measure and mark 2.5 inches from the old neckline downwards. I will now connect the half-inch points at the top edge of the built-up neckline to the two sides of the 1 inch opening at the neckline. I will also connect the two sides of the 1 inch opening to the 2.5 inch point on the middle line like this with my French curve. I have created the neckline darts for the back pattern. I will highlight the darts with this black marker pen like this. I will cut out the back pattern. This is the front pattern. From the center front at the base of the front neck depth, I will measure and mark 2 inches on the front neckline. I will connect the 2 inch point to the tip of the waist dart like this. I will slash it open. I will place a pattern paper beneath it like this. I will pin this side in place. I will close the waist dart till I have a 1 inch opening at the neckline. I will sellotape it in place. From the base of the front neckline, I will measure and mark 2 inches upwards like this. I will draw a vertical line to the 2 inch point. This is the neck point. From the neck point, I will draw a vertical line upwards like this using broken lines. From the neck point on the broken line, I will measure and mark 2 inches. From the neck point on the shoulder line, I will measure and mark 2 inches. From the 2 inch point on the broken line, I will go in by 1 inch. I will now connect this 1 inch point to the 2 inch point on the shoulder line like this using my French curve. I will also connect these 2 points together like this, also using my French curve. Next, I will construct the neckline darts for the front pattern. I will locate and mark the middle point on the 1 inch neckline opening like this. I will draw a broken line passing through the middle point from the top edge of the raised neckline to the tip of the waist dart. At the top edge of the built-up neckline, I will measure and mark half an inch on both sides of the broken line that I just drew. I will connect the half-inch points at the top edge of the built-up neckline to the two sides of the 1 inch opening at the neckline like this using my French curve. I will measure the length of the middle line from the top edge of the built-up neckline to the old neckline. This gave me a value of 2 inches and 3/4. On the middle broken line, I will measure and mark 2 inches and 3/4 from the old neckline downwards like this. I will connect the two sides of the 1 inch opening to the 2 inches and 3/4 points on the middle broken line like this using my French curve. So now I have constructed the neckline dart for the front pattern. On second thoughts, I will reduce the width of the dart at the top edge of the built-up neckline. I think it is too much and it will make the neckline uncomfortable for the wearer of the final outfit. So I will measure and mark 1/4 of an inch on both sides of the middle broken line. I will now connect the 1/4 inch point to the two sides of the 1 inch opening at the neckline like this. So these are the new dart lines at the top of the built-up neckline. I will do the same adjustment on the back pattern as well. This part is no longer part of the darts. Next, I will create the V-cut opening at the center front neckline. First, I will measure and mark how deep I want the front neckline to be. From the base of the basic neck depth, which is 3 inches, I will measure and mark 5 inches downwards, like this. From the top edge of the built-up neckline at the center front, I will measure and mark 3/4 of an inch from the center front. I will now connect the 3/4 of an inch point to the 5 inch point below the neckline like this, using my ruler. This shaded part is no longer part of the pattern. Next, I will compare the lengths of the shoulders and the built-up neckline of both the back and the front patterns and make sure they are equal in length. The back pattern is 6 inches and 3/4, while the front is 7 inches long. I will reduce the front to 6 inches and 3/4 and I will also redraw the neckline like this. This part that I'm shading is no longer part of the front pattern. I will cut it out. It will be cut on fold. And this is where the front neckline ends. I still have some waist dart left on the front and the back patterns, about 1/4 of an inch wide. I will trim off this excess paper on the back pattern that I forgot to trim off earlier on. A facing is needed for this built-up neckline, so I will measure and mark 3 inches below the arm line at the center back and also at the sides. I will connect the points together for both the back and the front patterns. I will trace out the facing to a new pattern paper like this. I will cut out the facing pattern pieces. I will highlight the neckline darts. These are the pattern pieces needed for the built-up neckline. I will go ahead and cut them out on my fabric. I have gone ahead to do the cutting, as you can see. I fused interfacing to the wrong side of the facing pieces. I will transfer the dart positions to the wrong side of the fabric using my pins and also my fabric marker like this. I will draw out the dart outlines. I will do the same thing on the back pieces as well. These are the front and the back facing pieces. I will also go ahead and transfer the neckline darts to the wrong sides of the facing pieces. So now that has been done, as you can see, I have transferred the neckline darts to the wrong sides of the facing pieces. These are the two back pieces. I will go ahead and sew the neckline darts in place. This is the front piece. I will also go ahead and sew the neckline darts in place. I will also sew the neckline darts of the facing pieces in place. So now that has been done, as you can see, I will trim off the uneven ends at the front neckline, like this. These are the neckline darts which I have sewn in place, as you can see. I have also sewn in place the tiny 1/4 inch darts left over at the waist. I have also given the pieces a thorough press with my iron. I will also trim off the uneven ends at the back neckline like this. I have also sewn in place the neckline darts and the waist darts on the two back pieces. These are the facing pieces. I have also sewn the neckline darts in place and I've given the facing pieces a thorough press with my pressing iron. I will also trim off the uneven ends at the necklines of the facing pieces. This is the front piece. Recall that I used 1/4 inch seam allowance at the V-cut opening at the center front. I will place the front facing piece on top of the front main piece, right side to right side. I will pin in place at V-cut opening. Because of the 1/4 inch seam allowance that I added at the V-cut neckline, I couldn't reach down to the actual neck depth of the front piece. I still have a deficit of 2.5 inches at the front neck depth. That is, I still need to bring down the front neckline by 2.5 inches. So I will measure and mark 2.5 inches downwards like this. I will go ahead and sew the V-cut like this using 1/4 inch seam allowance. So now the stitching has been done using 1/4 inch seam allowance. I will cut open the neckline to the actual front neck depth like this. Be careful not to cut through the stitches. I will turn it to the right side. If you have puckers at the end of the front neck depth, that means you haven't cut enough. In my own case, I still have puckers, so I still need to cut it a little bit more. At this point, you have to be extremely careful not to cut through the stitches. I will now sew the upper edge of the built-up neckline using 1/2 inch sewing allowance. So now that has been done, as you can see, you should add a drop of transparent fabric glue to the lower part of the front neck depth so as to be able to give the seam at that end more strength and prevent it from ripping open later on. Spread it out a little bit with your finger and allow it to dry before you continue to assemble the garment. These are the two back pieces. I will place the two back facing pieces on top of the two back pieces like this, right side to right side. I will measure and mark 1 inch from the center back at the raised neckline. I will now sew the top edge of the built-up neckline using 1/2 inch sewing allowance. I will leave 1 inch opening at the center back. So now that has been done, as you can see, and I left 1 inch opening at the center back. This is the front piece. I will place the 2 back pieces on top of the front piece like this, right side to right side. I will open up the shoulders like this. I will pin the shoulders together, fabric to fabric and facing to facing, making sure that the seam lines match up. After pinning, I will take it to my sewing machine and I will stitch it in place using 1/2 inch sewing allowance. So now that has been done, as you can see, I will open it up like this. I will notch the seam allowance at the built-up neckline area. This will allow the neckline to relax and lie flat. I will also reduce the seam allowance around the built-up neckline area to about 1/4 inch. I will do the same thing on this other side as well. I will now go ahead and fix this zip to the center back of the garment. I will also sew the side seams in place. So now that has been done, as you can see, I have sewn the side seams together and I've given the side seams and I've also fixed the zip to the center back of the bodice. So that's it guys, we are done and this is the final look of the built-up neckline with that. If you find this video helpful, do not forget to give it a thumbs up, drop a comment down below, share this video with your friends who are interested in sewing, and do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. See you in my next tutorial. Bye and thank you so much for watching.